Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be making a disco ball nail ready for New Year's Eve, and I'm going to use Stratosphere, one of our cat eye polishers. I'm going to pop a nice thin layer of this, and I won't cure it before going in with some magnets to activate all of those magnetic particles and give it the cat eye effect. So I could not for the life of me find our magnetic one, so I'm just using some magnets that we use on our nail clippers, and I've just attached them to some cuticle nippers, which looks a little bit silly, but it's doing the job for now. I'm just going to go around the edges, and it's just going to give it a little bit of an aura effect. I've cured that for 60 seconds, and I'm just going back in with another layer of Stratosphere, doing exactly the same thing again. And just again going around with the magnets and just going right around the edge, and you can see it's just getting a little bit darker on the edges because it's pushing those magnetic particles into the middle. Now that's cured for 60 seconds, I'm going in with some top coat, and I'm doing this so I can buff it all back down and it'll make a nice matte surface when I start doing any line work. It just makes it easier for the gel polish to not move around. Now that's cured, I'm going in with one of our buffing blocks and just giving it a buff all over the nail until it's all smooth and matte. Next I'm going in with Serious Black and a fine liner brush, and I'm just going to be popping on a dot in the middle just to mark where the middle of my circle is going to be, and then I'm going to map out a little grid, just a little cross, and that's going to show me where the top, the bottom and the sides of the circle are going to be, and it'll help just get that shape right. And once I'm happy with the shape, I'm just going to go in and fill in those sections. I'm just going to go in and do a nice smooth layer of that over the top of the segments just to make sure there's no lumpy bumpy bits. Once that's cured, I'm going in with Snow White and back in with a fine liner brush, but this time I'm using a really long one. And I'm just going to be marking out my grid for all of the little segments on the disco ball. So I'm just doing a cross section across the whole of this circle, and I'll be going back in and marking out where I want the other segments. And now I'm just going to be doing some curved lines from the central points back out to those sections I've just marked. And this is just going to give the illusion of a spherical shape like a disco ball would be. Also, please excuse the fact that I've got green gloves on today. It makes me look a little bit like a surgeon. I'm definitely not a surgeon. But I couldn't find any black gloves, so you're just going to have to deal with these. You know what they say, you get what you get and you don't get upset. I'm then just going in and doing the opposite direction, and this will just make a nice little grid for where we can pop all of our different chromes. Doesn't matter too much if this isn't perfectly neat because we're going back over the whole thing. This is just so we know where to place our colours. Now I've cured that, I'm going in with a layer of top coat and putting this all over the nail, and we're going to be doing the same as before, curing that for 60 seconds and buffing the whole thing back off, and this is so we can do some isolated chrome and the chrome won't stick anywhere else on the nail. Now that's buffed, I'm going to be using Serious Black and going back in with our teeny tiny fine detail brush. And we're just going to be colouring in little segments. We're going to do this randomly all over the disco ball, and this is going to be our first chrome colour. Cure that for 60 seconds, and then I'm just going in with our first chrome pen and just colouring in the sections that I've done, and you'll find that you'll be able to wipe the excess off here and it won't stick to anywhere else. So we're just going to repeat the same process over and over and over again using loads of different chromes until we're happy. So I'm just going to let you watch this all appear because it's very repetitive and you don't need me talking over the top of it. Now that the full disco ball is chromed, I'm going to go back in with our really long fine detail brush and some Serious Black and just outline those segments yet again, just to give them a little bit of definition. Now that I've cured that for 60 seconds, I'm going to be going in with some of our new Nail Tip Gel Adhesive, which is actually usable as a 3D putty as well. You can see it's really thick and gloopy, but it's great for this kind of thing. So make sure you've got your gloves on for this and give it a pat on. So the trick with this is to not let it get too warm, because if it gets too warm, it's going to get sticky. So you want to be a little bit sporadic how you're patting it and just use any tools that you need to stop it getting warm. I've just gone in with another layer of this as well, just to build it up and make the dome a little bit taller. This has a little bit of a self-leveling property, so if there's any marks from your gloves or anything like that, it'll all level itself out and go crystal clear as well. I've popped that in the lamp. You might need to cue that for a little bit more than 60 seconds depending on your lamp and how strong it is. And then I'm just going to go in with Serious Black and I'm going to be creating some little stars. So I'm going to start with little dots and then use one of our detail brushes and pull that out with a clean brush just to make some stars. I thought I would add the little stars in just to make it look like a twinkly nighttime sky. I'm just going to add in a little chain for the disco ball, so I'm just doing a line and then I'm going to take a dotting tool and pop a couple of dots on the line too, and it'll make it look like a bit of a chain. Once that's cued for 60 seconds, I'm going in with another one of our chrome pens and just going over the Serious Black areas. So what I should have done is gone in with something over the disco ball to stop anything sticking to it. But in the end, I just used some gel residue, wipe off solution and a brush and wiped off any excess chrome from the globe. And once I'm happy with that and dusted off all of the excess chrome, I'm going in with some top coat and going over the whole thing to make it nice and shiny. And I've cured that for 60 seconds and there we have it, our disco ball nail with a 3D dome. If you want any of the products that we've used in the video today, they'll be linked down below, and we hope to see you next time. See you later, guys.